Well, why I love Navy Federal, it's the biggest and the best credit union in the world. Also, why else do I love Navy Federal Credit Union? You can get massive limits with very low credit scores. Why else do I love Navy Federal? Because you can easily build credit very quickly with Navy Federal. And for somebody that has horrible credit or has no credit, this is the credit union to go to start building out your profile and have quality lines instead of quantity lines, okay? A lot of people have quantity lines, but they don't have good trade lines. With Navy Federal, you can have good revolving lines, you can have good installment lines, and you can really quickly ramp up a beautiful credit profile if you're coming back from bankruptcy, if you're coming back from a repossession, if you're coming back from just being irresponsible, or if you've never built credit before. This is the house for building credit. Now, once you have good credit, this is also the house for getting massive lines of credit to easily liquidate these credit cards. Also, if you're an entrepreneur and you don't want to give proof of income, they have stated income loans. Take that how you want to take that. Okay, we're going to talk about that today. But so Navy Federal is for everybody that can qualify to get in. So why should you use Navy Federal Credit Union? Well, like I said, if you have bad credit or no credit, you need to build your credit. Okay, the biggest thing that you want to have is bank issued lines of credit. Whether it's revolving, installment, you need bank issued. Try to stay away from the self lenders. Try to stay away from the fintechs. Really try to get bank issued lines of credit. Okay, it looks a lot better on paper. When you're going for underwriting and you're going for funding, they don't want to see a bunch of garbage, grain credit, all these different credit things popping up all over that your favorite YouTubers are talking about. You need to have quality lines of credit. Okay, because when they pull that profile, they want to see who has trusted you with credit already. And yeah, so that's why you should definitely use them. All right. Give me 1 second here. All right. So interesting facts. We're going to talk about them. Navy Federal Credit Union was founded at the end of the Great Depression by 7 Navy Department employees who wanted to help themselves and their coworkers reach their financial goals. They envisioned a credit union that would offer loans with affordable rates and manageable terms. They wanted to encourage building financial security by providing a safe place to deposit savings and earn dividends. So they pooled their money and invited others to join. Ladies and gentlemen, we're getting ready to be in some of the worst times since the Great Depression, could even be worse than the Great Depression. I'm not trying to spark fear and gloom here, guys, but it's going to be ugly, okay? Ugly next year, okay? How many people have noticed their stock portfolios tank, their housing tank? Everything's going to get ready to go to another level, okay? So if you are not prepared, this is the time to prepare, okay? You are running out of time, right? The last thing you want to do is applying for credit when you need it. You need to be using preventative maintenance. You don't put oil in your car when it's ran out of oil. You do these maintenance things all the time, so that way you don't have to get ready because you stay ready, okay? You need to take your credit very seriously. Also, what I will tell you too is you really need to start building business credit ASAP, because the first thing they cut in when it comes to these type of times are they cut the personal lines of credit. They'll take a line that's 30,000, bring it down to 10, or they'll take one that's 10 and take it down to 2,500. If you're not utilizing your credit, you don't have a great relationship with that bank, they don't feel like you need it, they litigate the risk and they literally slash your lines, okay? So you don't want to be in that situation where, boom, you have a $30,000 line, you use $10,000, they bring it down to 12,000, your utilization pops up, you're screwed, right? So you really want to make sure that you're building out business credit. And the reason why you joined this program really should be to use business credit, because that's the core of what we teach here is business credit. Because with business credit, it doesn't report to your personal bureaus, okay? So you can max out business credit. It never hurts your personal credit whatsoever. They give larger limits on the business side. Whenever you're scaling a business, you should be using your business credit so that way you can write the interest off on your taxes, where you can't do that with your personal. Definitely check with your CPA. But I'm just telling you that the reasons are countless to be operating and moving out of business credit. The nice thing about Navy Federal is they do have business accounts, okay? So they're also member-owned, they're not for profit. So that's the difference between a credit union and a bank. A bank is for profit, a credit union is nonprofit, right? State Departments, FCU, Penn Fed, Navy Fed, WECU, wherever, PSECU, all these credit unions are nonprofit organizations and they're member-owned. So you're going to have the benefit of the doubt if you have a lower credit score. If you have a lower credit score, 660, 640, 630, there are ways that you can get approved for credit cards, lines of credit, loans, given you have a relationship with them. if they have deposits coming in, they see you in the branch, whatever the case is, if they look at your overall activity with their bank, with their credit union, and you have a lower credit score, they tend to give you the benefit of the doubt and give you the approval, even if it's lower limits, to let you prove yourself. Than with big banks. Big banks say, hey, listen, you're not adding anything to the table. We can't trust you. You don't fall on our bottom line. Denied. Okay. So big banks are great when you have business credit and you're really bringing in a lot of revenue. But when you don't have that, these credit unions are massive to you. Okay. So as of February 2022, Navy Federal has had 159 billion USD in assets and has 11.85 million members. Okay. They're the largest, the biggest, and the baddest. All right. All right. Give me 1 second. My computer's not working here. Give me 1 second here. Okay. So NFCU quick data points. $80,000 is the max exposure limit for revolving lines of credit on the personal side. Couples double up. We're going to talk about this hack later on in the presentation. So if Joe is married, right? He's got a beautiful bride out there in San Francisco, right? They're both Buckeye fans. Shout outs to the Bucks. We made the playoffs. Bring it, Michigan, bring it. Okay, listen, couples double up. Okay, so what Joe would not want to do is put his wife on his account. Why? Because then they both fall within this 80,000 max exposure limit. What Joe would want to do is he would have his own Navy Federal account. His wife would have her own Navy Federal account. Now they both can bring them together for 160 grand. Okay, if they both would qualify for that max exposure limit. On top of that, installment loans, there's actually not a disclosed or set max exposure limit. What is a max exposure limit? A max exposure limit is the amount that the credit union or the bank will lend you credit, how much they trust you with the credit that they have available to lend to you. Okay, so Navy Federal used to even be higher, but because of all of the YouTubers like myself and everybody else out there, the cat is out the bag, right? Everybody's going to Navy Federal, and there's a lot of things going on. Every time there's a loophole, they're being found out about and they're being exploited, and people are taking advantage. And so literally they're cracking down on a lot. But the installment loans, we're going to talk about some different loopholes that are there for you to take advantage of. But the biggest thing to think about is when it comes to banking relationships, you do not want to be monogamous, okay? You don't. You do not want to be monogamous with your banking. You want to literally bank with as many people as you can get, right? And on top of this, when it comes to this specific credit union, my strategy would be to have both partners have their own account so that way they can level up these strategies and plays that I'm getting ready to show you guys. All right. All right. So how to join Navy Federal Credit Union? Well, we're going to talk about some ways here. First of all, they're meant to serve the military and the military families. Okay. So